Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the most. That was about the most technical question I think I've heard all day.
I'm very happy to be able to provide some information.
Can you? Is there some kind of association with this aircraft and like the and something about the like sightings of like UFOs in the 1950s or something?
You've been watching the History Channel.
Well, no. I mean, there's a lot of like conspiracy theory type stuff.
Are you asking if there's credibility to that?
No. I'm just wondering if I'm wondering if there's like any kind of like has anyone like just like looked into like the association between that as like say like from a cultural perspective?
The only thing that I've heard about that has been on, I think, the Discovery Channel.
That's it? Like on what show? Do you know what show? Or
I think if you like Google search like alien conspiracy, like I'm one of the research fellow that was working with me last year. We were having a laugh about it. We didn't,
Right, because like the CIA just like they did that tweet where they were saying, oh, our flights, our U-2 flights were UFOs, is what you were seeing when flying saucers are in the 1950s, and then I just wondered if there was like any kind of like association between flying wing and like experimental aircraft, seeing it as flying saucers.
But this never flew.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, this one.
But it is a part of like this whole conspiracy theory lore, right?
It is very much part of conspiracy theory lore. The conspiracy related to this one is that it's the first stealth aircraft, because later in his life, Wright Horten, the jet designer, in the 80s, had said that he added charcoal to the adhesive layer in the plywood to absorb radar beams, thereby putting this. It was basically an attempt to like bolster his faltering aviation career. So then, a bunch of people kind of caught wind of that and were like, "Wow, it's the first stealth fighter, okay." And so when Russ Lee when we started this project, the curator, he'd asked me if I could identify whether or not there was any charcoal in the adhesive layer, which was fine because it was part of our technical study to understand what's the aircraft made from, so we can then propose, an appropriate treatment method for it. So I took samples from about 6 different locations around the jet, very small, about 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter, and looked at the adhesive layer, and they came up with a method to extract any particles from it and identify the particles. And the only thing that we found is very sparse amounts of very oxidized wood. So charcoal is extremely oxidized wood, but we didn't find a cohesive layer of it. It's just like sort of scattered throughout. So we can't say, oh yes, there's definitely charcoal in here, and it's in such a massive quantity. It definitely is, intentional. So I think that was totally false. Like the material evidence does not support that claim. So on the website that I was telling you about, there's a whole chapter that says, "Is it really a stealth aircraft?" And
which website is that again?
It's one that I made sort of covertly, but the museum, it'll be available on the museum's website like next week. So if you just type in Horten Conservation, but spell Horten Horten.
Oh, okay.
And you find the thing that says, "Is it really a stealth aircraft?" You can see all of my samples, all of the analysis.
Wow, that's fantastic
you can
work.
Make your own decision.
That's fantastic work. Wow.
But what we really discovered is that there's no cohesive layer of anything that is clearly charcoal. Little teeny bits of oxidized wood is not.
Did this aircraft go to the Foreign Technology Division at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base?
I don't think so.
It didn't?
I don't think so. I think
so it wasn't part of that, the whole, like when the Allies went in and like just like grabbed up all the technical scientists and all the technical hardware?
So it went from Friedrich Schröder in Germany to Cherbourg, France, to Farnsburg, England, then to Wright Field.
That's what I said. Wright-Patterson.
Okay, sorry. And then it's wherever O'Hare Airport is now. That's where it was assembled and painted.
Right.
Because they were like, oh well, since no one wants to fly it, let's just make it a display as part of our captured German stuff. So that's when this blue paint went over the surface, and there's swastikas on the back and on the wings. That was all done by the U.S. in 1946.
Oh wow, that's good information.
Has anybody ever done like RCS testing, like making a scale